All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little Golden State Warrior instant reaction after their loss tonight to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in the Bay. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Krug sent you. And this video is brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. I'm loving Mojo Fantasy. And check that link in the description. Make sure you use promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and they'll match you up to $100 on your first deposit. Everybody who does enter automatically is entered into a drawing to win a Purdy or a Bosa jersey on Thanksgiving night in our Niners-Seahawks postgame show. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Golden State Warriors. They took on the hottest team in the NBA tonight, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who's a great defensive team. Timberwolves are playing really good basketball. That's been one of the stories of the early season. And Steph Curry was out. You know, he's had knee pain and he couldn't go. So they were without Steph Curry. At the beginning of the game, Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels got into a jersey pulling tussle that happened basically under the bucket, fled into the mid floor, and are kind of, the whole thing kind of led into the middle of the floor. They're throwing each other around. Draymond Green then jumps in, gets Rudy Gobert into a headlock. Thompson, Green, and McDaniels were all ejected. And so that was it. That was the beginning of the game. And at that point, I mean, this T-Wolves team's playing great, and Gobert does not get ejected. Cat did not get ejected. Anthony Edwards did not get ejected. Mike Conley did not get ejected. And the Golden State Warriors, who were already struggling to score without, everybody except for Steph Curry, were now without basically their three Hall of Famers. No Klay Thompson, no Draymond Green, and no Steph Curry the whole game. And still, they found a way to hang in this game. How did they do it? Brandon Pajemski, the rookie, had a monster night. He had a great night. I mean, Kerr said he's cocky, he's brash, he knows he's good. Well, he was terrific tonight. 23 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Had a couple looks at the end that he couldn't knock down, but Pajemski kept him in it. He was really the reason they were in the game. And he had a great night. He also had a cut on his eye because of a bump that he took in the game. The kid's tough. He can rebound. He can shoot it. He hit one 3-point play where he hit it off the glass with the shot clock 3-pointer off the glass. He didn't call it, but it was an incredible shot. And Golden State won that first quarter, 30-22. After the emotion of the fight, if you want to call it as much, it was kind of like a melee. Green basically got Gobert in a headlock, and then that was probably the most violent thing there was. But Warriors rebounded and had a good first quarter, 30-22. So they were +8 at the end of one. Minnesota wins the second quarter, 32-29. So the Warriors led by 5 at half. Golden State would up that lead to 7 going to the fourth quarter, winning that third quarter 24-22. But the bottom line is the fourth quarter in the NBA is about stars, and stars take over the game. And Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards took the game over. Karl Anthony Towns finished his night with 33 points, 11 rebounds, 8 points in the fourth quarter. Anthony Edwards wound up his night with 20 points, but he also had 8 points in the fourth quarter. And that was the difference. Chris Paul hit a mid-range jumper with 5:30 left to make it 89-89. And then Anthony Edwards hit a deep three-pointer as the shot clock expired to make it 92-89. Paul made another three to make it 92-92. But then Pajemski missed the three. And it was 92-92 with 4:19 left. And then Karl Anthony Towns hit a step back J to make it 94-92 T-Wolves. And then Pajemski had a 3-point play that was impressive to make it 95-94 Golden State. Towns then came down the other end and missed, and Pajemski got the rebound, and you're thinking, okay, Golden State, maybe it's going to win this game. But Anthony Edwards had a beautiful lay-in over Wiggins with 3 minutes left to make it 96-95. Pods just had a baseline shot that he tried to make it into a floater. He probably should have just, it was probably a little too deep for a floater. He probably should have just shot the ball. He was in the mid range, and that missed. And then Golden State, you know, basically or I should say, Anderson for the T Wolves missed a shot. And then Gobert got an offensive rebound. This is late in the fourth quarter. Saric hit a three to make it 98-96. And then so it's 98-96. Minnesota calls a timeout. And Saric then missed a three their next time down. Cat hit a big three off a second chance. They had missed the shot. They got the offensive rebound. They circled it back to Cat. He hit the three-pointer to make it 99-98. Chris Paul then had a miss on next time down for the Warriors. And, then Towns, wound up, Towns wound up missing a three-pointer with 51 seconds left. It was Minnesota 99-98. Towns misses a three-pointer. Saric then hits a three-pointer, and but ultimately, or no, I should say, takes a three-pointer, but Gobert tipped it. That's what happened. Saric took a corner three, but unfortunately, Gobert, who's got such crazy length, got a finger on it, so that interrupted that shot. So it's 99-98, and the T-Wolves have the ball, and they come down the floor, and unfortunately, Wiggins left Mike Conley open at the three-point line and couldn't close out in time. Conley hits the three-pointer to make it 102-98 with 8.6 on the clock, and that was the ball game right there. So CP3 had 15, strong game for him. Saric had 18, strong offensive game for him. But Golden State just couldn't match Minnesota in the fourth quarter. They had a 15-point fourth quarter. So that right there will get you beat. 20. They lose the fourth quarter 28-15. So, or it was like, no, it was 28-18 because Moody hit that last three. But it was basically, that was the story right there. Golden State could not score in the fourth quarter, and they wind up losing to the T-Wolves, a T-Wolf team that's playing really good basketball right now. And overall, I mean, I would say a couple things. One, anytime you lose, you don't have Clay and Draymond and Steph, you're just not going to win, especially against a good team like the T-Wolves. And Pajemski had a great night, but, he missed a couple down the stretch that could have potentially given Golden State the win. And then overall, I would have to say just a hugely disappointing night from Andrew Wiggins. I mean, Wiggins has to step up in that situation. And there's no Curry, there's no Clay, there's no Draymond Green. Wiggins has got to have a big night. He didn't. He wound up with 9 points. He shot 4 of 15 from the field, 1 of 7 on threes, and he's just not playing well at the beginning of this year. So, I mean, if you had told me in the first quarter that the Warriors were going to have to play the whole night with no Green, no Thompson, and no Steph, and that Pajemski would have a big night, and that Paul and Saric would have a big night, but that Wiggins wouldn't even score double figures, I would have said they would have gotten blown out by 15-20. Once you had no Thompson, no Steph, no Draymond, Wiggins had to have a huge night and didn't. So I don't know what to say about Wiggins. He's just been so disappointing. He just drifts 28 minutes, 4 of 15 from the field, 1 of 7 on threes, didn't get to the foul line at all, 7 rebounds, not a single assist in 28 minutes. Doesn't make anybody better. Finished with 9 points, 7 rebounds, no assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 4 turnovers. So, what can you say? I mean, they had to have big time points from Wiggins, and they didn't get it. Warriors had 19 turnovers. Just looking at some of the stats from the game, Golden State shot 44% or 42%. T-Wolves shot 44%. They were relatively even at the 3-point line. Warriors shot a worse percentage, but they were both teams. T-Wolves made 14 threes. Warriors made 13 threes. The rebounds, Golden State won on the glass. They were +3 on the glass. Golden State was +4 on the offensive glass, another area where they want to be as good as they can be this year. Golden State had 28 assists, so overall and 11 steals. But when you look at the turnovers, both teams had 20 turnovers. The T Wolves scored 22 points off turnovers. T Wolves were +4 on the break. T Wolves were +2 points in the paint, but that's holding your own against a team like Minnesota that's got size and skill. Warriors' biggest lead was 12. T Wolves' biggest lead was 6. But it was just Golden State couldn't score in the fourth quarter. You know, your big time scorers take over the game in the fourth, and Golden State, had their guys on the sideline. So that was really why they lost the game. But ultimately, the overwhelming positive tonight, Brandon Pajemski thrust into a night where he had to play 39 minutes. He was 50% from the field, 9 of 18. Hit 3 threes out of the 6, or I guess maybe out of 8 that he took. Hit 2 free throws, 7 rebounds. That's really a good number. 5 assists, a steal, 23 points, and plus 11 for Pajemski. So Pajemski was fantastic. Saric had a nice night as well, shooting the ball, 8 of 15, though he only hit 3 of the 11 threes. So, but I mean, Wiggins, I mean, you needed Wiggins to score 20, 25 tonight to have a shot, and he scores 9. I mean, hugely disappointing. So, Kuminga didn't get to double figures either. Looney didn't get to double figures. Moses Moody did get to double figures with that final shot. So he finished with 11, 3 on the final shot of the game. But the big play was, the Warriors, were in a 1-point game. It was 99-98 with 51 seconds left, and Wiggins left Mike Conley, and he hit a huge dagger 3-pointer. Conley finished with 10 points, but he had that dagger 3 with 8.6 on the clock to make it 102-98, a 4-point game. And so overall, disappointing performance from Andrew Wiggins, very encouraging performance from Brandon Pajemski. Good fight for Golden State. It was an entertaining basketball game. But in the NBA, stars win. And when you get to the fourth quarter, if you have stars, they're going to rise to the occasion. Anthony Edwards did. Karl Anthony Towns did. The Warriors stars were not playing tonight, so they lose the game. So tough loss for Golden State. But this T-Wolf team is really good. I mean, that's the other thing that about this about this early season NBA is that if there's been one surprise in the league, it's Minnesota. Minnesota's 8-2. They're 5-0 at home. They're 3-2 on the road. They've been really, really good. They're undefeated in the conference. They're just playing really good ball. They've won 7 in a row, and they're one of the they're probably the biggest surprise in the NBA so far is the way Minnesota's playing. And tonight, with the Warriors shorthanded, it was great to see Pajemski kind of show up and really, show everybody what he's got. And there's great hope for that kid's future because he is cocky and brash and confident, and he can do a lot of things. And he's a great rebounder. But they had to have Andrew Wiggins' offense tonight, and he didn't bring it. 9 points. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. And thanks to Mojo Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Check that link in the description and type in the promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to $100 on your first deposit. And everybody who does it enters into a chance to win a Bosa or a Purdy jersey on Thanksgiving night. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.